All right, so here we are, one last time for 2023. It's championship weekend in Phoenix, and that means that it's not just Eric Smith, it's not just Greg DePalma, but it's also CJ Redoon joining us once again from RotoWire. How's it going, CJ?
It's going all right. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, you can check out CJ's F1 coverage uh, here now on our new channel. So hopefully you found us here on Mystery Caution. And we are going to keep reminding people as often as possible about the transition from Prime Sports Network. So here we are as we preview the final race of the season. And we have a lot to go over in the next 25 minutes. So let's tell you what, let's just wrap up what happened last week first. And then we're gonna have we're gonna talk about the future of the channel and also talk about special announcement that we mentioned we teased about regarding regarding a whole bunch of stuff. So all right, last week, big situation where you had Denny Hamlin unable, Martin Truex unable to get in, and it was Ryan Blaney that stole the show, Eric. What about Ryan Blaney's performance? We said it was all up to him to prove him and his team if they were championship worthy, and they certainly seemed like it on Sunday.
Yeah, it kind of, oddly enough, seemed par for the course for a round of 8 elimination race. Truex, good qualifying position, started off hot, mistakes, dropped them outside the top 10. Kind of rinse, wash, repeat for every playoff race so far. And then Denny Hamlin, fast, good, just not good enough. And then Blaney he just seems like a different driver. He just seems completely different this postseason. It's like, he's always been mature, but it just seems like he's taken on a different mature, like he's not making mistakes. We're not seeing that pit crew that we've been dogging for years messing up. It just seems they're we've talked about this numerous times, that it's reminiscent of Joey Logano's run last year. It's just not much during the regular season, did enough, got by, playoff time, and who's this guy? And it just feels right for him right now, and he capitalized when he did. I mean, I don't think last year Ryan Blaney was going to come from, they pit, they're outside the top 10 and drive his way to the lead, and not just the lead, but he won. So it's refreshing to kind of see this not a new blood now. You got Blaney, Bell, Larson, Byron in the championship for it. So, but yes. I thought Martinsville kind of looked like the postseason has been so far. Wasn't too many surprises from what we really saw there.
Yep, only one past champ in the race. CJ, a few years ago, we talked about Ryan Blaney and the fact that he had as much talent, pretty much, we thought, as Chase Elliott. And then it was just a matter of time whether or not he had the same team behind him and maturity and all that other stuff. And he's been in the playoffs numerous times. But, as Eric said, he finally not only put it together, but his team backed him up as well. And now he is in the best, without question, the best possible chance he's ever going to have, because he's going to a track where he's had success at, and he's red hot right now.
Yeah, it was evident that Blaney was destined to be a champion at some point in his career very early on. And like Eric said, we've had a lot of growing pains with him and that team for whatever reason. Penske's always had a hard time getting the 12 to actually perform. Blaney has taken it further than anybody else has before. And I agree with Eric. This last round especially, I think Blaney really showed a determination that he wasn't going to let this one get away from him. And that's something that I've seen Kyle Busch do. I've seen Larson do it. We've seen Denny Hamlin do it, not in a championship, but we've seen Denny Hamlin do it from time to time in certain races as well. And he didn't let it get away from him. Just these last 3 races, he was constantly in the mix. He started behind the cut line, worked his way forward, and then he probably would have advanced regardless with his performance on Sunday anyway had he not won. I don't know exactly what the points were. It sure looked like it.
Yeah.
given the stage points and everything. But
Yeah.
he left no doubt and went on and won. And that is exactly what you need from a championship level driver. I still question whether or not he can do 2 wins in a row to be able to get it done, because, again, I think you have to win this weekend at Phoenix in order to win the title. But he's, like you said, he's got a fantastic shot, and I wouldn't put it past him. It would not be a surprise if he did, put it that way.
Yeah, there was some really, and this was what we liked about Martinsville. What we like about Martinsville, there was some really close calls there for Blaney. He was being very aggressive. There was that long, it seemed pretty long, him and Hamlin going at it for a while, early enough in the race too. Especially like you said, CJ, where Blaney really, not that he knew it, he knew at the time, hey, I got to win. And that's how you had to have that philosophy. But in reality, he didn't. Hamlin was the one that really had to win. When it was all said and done at the end, if Blaney would have finished in second, at that point, Blaney would have went in and Byron would have been out. So, but he didn't worry about that, Eric. He was aggressive. He's been aggressive before. And he definitely looks like a more controlled and again up here. That's where I think it's changing, but it's not over. He's got to prove that he can do it again, and his team has to prove they can do it again on Sunday.
Yeah, and it's especially too with what we talked about last week with the stage points are really going to dictate which way Hamlin, Truex, those guys do early, because they were only 17 down, and Hamlin did it right. First and second, I think he got 19 stage points. He did exactly what he had to do, but so did Blaney. Blaney just kept him like he already had him at an arm's length coming in. He was 17 points above both of them and 10 above Reddick, and he just kept him at arm's length. And as CJ said, he didn't have to win that race. He was still 7 points to the good, even if he didn't win. Let's just say he got past in the end. It wouldn't have mattered. Byron would have been the one out. It was that final stage was then a battle of Byron versus Hamlin. And I think that's a testament for Blaney, because those first 2 stages, and that's where NASCAR's have evolved with stage points. I think we're probably seeing, especially in the playoffs, how much they matter early, because if it sets your final stage up, if you already know where I think that's why Blaney pit. They knew at that point, hey, we could go for the win. We scored enough points. Let's go ahead and pit. We'll be outside the top 10, but we got a car good enough to drive through. And he did. So credit to him. Plus, I think you also it's no secret Fords have had a detriment on certain tracks this year. Short tracks aren't one of them. And we know Hendrick, they've been all right at Phoenix, but they haven't been great. Blaney has. And while he got Hendrick down, Stuart Haas they don't have anybody in this championship for. Gibbs hasn't even led a lap there with the next gen. While Blaney is where he's at, you have to take advantage, because eventually those teams are going to figure it out. So this is, as you said, I think this is his bet. I don't know if it's going to get much better than it is right now for him in this situation to win a championship on Sunday with coming off of a win. You got some of these guys down. I mean, he went from a nobody to you can make a strong case as a favorite for this weekend. That says a lot, because wasn't he like 40-1 a couple weeks ago?
Yes, he was.
You can make a strong case he could be a favorite. So yeah. I don't know if it gets much better than he's going to have right now for this opportunity.
All right, so let's update our fantasy standings right now, and let's see. I guess I can post it here on the screen. I'm not going to be able to. Well, I'll hold off on what I was about to say. So wait, no, I don't want to use that. Let me move up the standings over here so people can see it. So I have a big lead over Eric now based on Blaney's win, and also Eric Almirola.
Yeah, how about that?
Paying off with a late season pickup, finishing second for 300 points. So that was big. Yeah. So Almirola, he actually ended up. There was a strategy play for Almirola to get out there. So could anyone else have done what Almirola did and gotten away with it?
Could have. I just think
like anybody important, like could Denny Hamlin have tried a different strategy, or it wouldn't have worked out anyway?
I think it still would have worked itself out. I mean, okay. Hamlin couldn't take too big of a swing because they did. I should say they could have, but I also think, because they talk about it a lot, that gamble they made in the championship race was like 2019. I think it was 2019. Where they put that big piece of tape on the front of the car, and it really malfunctioned and went backwards. I think they kind of knew, let's not swing for the fence here, because we still got a punter's shot here of getting this thing in. Almirola had nothing to lose. And that for him, it's just a standpoint where he was leading that group on the alternate strategy.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So, I mean, it's a good story. I think it goes to show once you make your mind up, you know what direction you're going, the pressure's off, look what happens.
Yep.
So it would have been a good story if he would have won. But, again, that race had been – just like this weekend, it'd be hard to be a non-playoff driver to win for what was at stake on Sunday.
All right, so 1,000 points for the final race. I have Blaney and Larson in there, as you can see there. So Eric has definitely a chance if Bell can get the win. And so there you go. There's Eric. Eric's got Bell sitting there. And then CJ, you have Byron. You're going to need a little bit of help in the top 5 to garner up some more points since you're a little bit back. But that's what's going on our fantasy team. So one more race to go, and then it'll be all over. And last year, now again, look at last year's standings. See, last year's standings, Eric led at this point. He won actually by 3,500 last year. CJ 5,500. So a little bit more normal looking standings this year, and we're still up for grabs. So yeah, you ran away with it with who last year?
I know I had Hamlin, Logano. Logano really did me good in the playoffs. Yeah.
Okay.
I had Logano. I think I had Logano and Hamlin. Did I have a Hendrick guy too?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think I had. Yeah, I think I had like 4 or 5 cars in the champion or the round of 8. So.
Yeah, it must have. Yeah. And then here are the futures. Let me just put the futures in there because this is it for the futures. So obviously, and the way we have it set up here. So Blaney, for me, Blaney and Bell, as you can see, 30,000 invested. I'll be in the clear if the 2 of them win. CJ, he is in the clear if Larson and Byron win. So there you can see there's numbers there for CJ, and Eric will win only if Blaney wins. But he would actually, if Blaney wins, you'll actually make the most out of anybody else in the futures because you have over 25,000 invested there if Blaney gets the win for Eric in the futures. Let me go back to our predictions. You guys remember what we predicted in the playoffs?
Not this. I don't think I had Blaney in the final 4.
Let's see. Preseason
I definitely did not have Blaney in there.
Preseason predictions. I had Blaney, Hamlin, Reddick, Truex, so I only had Blaney, with Blaney as my champ. CJ, you had Bell, Elliott, Hamlin, and Larson in your preseason. So you had Bell and Larson, but you had Elliott winning. Eric had Bell, Elliott, Hamlin, Larson. Also Bell and Larson, with Elliott winning. So you both you guys had Elliott winning in the preseason. Didn't expect what was going to happen, of course, to Chase Elliott's season. Yeah. Our postseason predictions, and this is I forget when we did this, before the playoffs.
Yeah.
And my championship 4, still only, I went with the same, so I didn't make any moves, so Blaney was still my guy. CJ, same thing. I think he made one switch, Truex in there. So CJ still with Bell and Byron actually in there. You also took out Larson. Did you not?
He was not having a great time.
Okay. And champion Byron. So CJ's champion was Byron in the midseason, and Eric had Byron and Larson on his second go around with Truex as the winner. So so we'll see what happens there. Anyway, okay. So those are all that's everything that was going on between futures and fantasy and all that. So we got that out of the way, and our predictions, of course. So now let's talk about the big race here over the last part of the show. But before we do that, this is the perfect time for me to hand it on over to Eric. So Eric can explain why we have the new channel and why we're going to have a lot of changes for 2024.
Yeah, so if you follow me on social media, you probably would have seen it already. But Race Review Online it's still out there. It's not going to be updated. I just leave it for past references. Yeah, for if I interviewed this guy then, I know where his quotes are, and needed it for Grosjean, which we're about to talk to in about an hour. Use some quotes from the past for him, but I am the editorial and digital content lead for Penske Entertainment now. So what that is all my writing will be with IndyCar and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So basically every IndyCar race, which was already kind of doing already anyways, and any event here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedways, you can see the admin building right here behind me. It's where I'm located there in the IndyCar office also, which is across the street. So I got 2 different buildings I'm roaming between. So with being an IndyCar employee now, that means my NASCAR coverage kind of, as far as writing goes, by the wayside, other than the Brickyard, but that doesn't mean I can't still do this stuff. But yeah, I am now basically an IndyCar employee covering their content for them. So that is why some changes have been made.
Yeah, and then next year, if you're an Indy fan, IndyCar Series fan, we're going to have tons of more content, obviously, interviews with drivers, things of that nature. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. Of course, we're still going to figure out a way. We're still going to do NASCAR coverage, but we're just got to figure out the logistics of how that's going to work. I'll probably be the one left to doing most of it, but I'll figure it out. And these 2 guys will still be a part of it. Everything, of course, here on this new channel. So again, still going to be NASCAR, IndyCar, and F1. So same thing, but we have a new channel, all for motorsports only. And I want to remind, because I know we have a lot of viewers out there who have been really great to us. I'm going to name everybody quickly who has commented at one time or another or donated to the channel. We've got Lana Gissinger. We've got John DeRosa. We've got Alan Batt, Wayne Bilo. Let's see, who else? I.E. Ronimo, James Ford, Donald Veal, Paul Moss. Let's see, Randolph Rourke. And let's see, S. Cole, Jeff Narum. The reason I'm naming these names, by the way, Matt Bonafuso, is because we expect all you guys to come on over to our new channel and subscribe, because we got to get the subscription base up there right away. As quick as we can get that thing going, we can get back monetized on that channel, and then we can, which we will, obviously, thanks to Eric and the IndyCar coverage. It's not going to be a problem for us. But anyway, we want to make sure that we also have all you NASCAR guys over there as well to contribute. Bobby Ferguson is another. So yeah, Filthy Rat. I like that one. We haven't brought that one up in a while. Filthy Rat, Thanos, and Filthy Rat are on the same week. Gaming with Homie One Kenobi. Yeah, some good ones as I go down the list. Kent Blythe. Pure Sus Life. Dale Fick. Anyway, we want to thank all you guys. I hate my job. Spelled spelled E-Y-E, hate my job. Lewis Lynn, I can go on and on. Mark Simmons, Blackjack from Playbook. Remember that guy? He gave us problems early on in the year. Ken Gunter, Blackjack. So yeah, all you guys have done a great job. Links Domination, sounds like a porn site. Joe Kleska, Scotty B, aka Madtown Baller. All you guys, Big Rooster, thanks for participating on the channel. And again, we expect you guys to subscribe to our new channel over at Mystery Caution. Okay, last 10 minutes. Let's give our, because here's the deal. This was interesting. I didn't even realize this, that they've been racing in Phoenix 3 times for the championship race. Did you already know this? Do you know what I'm going to say, Eric?
I don't. Maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
That all 3 champion drivers won the pole.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And
I get the first pit stall. Yep.
So Logano led 187 of 312, Larson led 107 of 312, and Elliott led 153 of 312. So they didn't all dominate, which is a little interesting.
Yep.
You just think that, didn't they all dominate? Because they're always up front, it seems. But no, they didn't all dominate. Now, we do expect, though, CJ, that, again, at least 1 or 2 of them are going to be up there for most of the time. But it just
Try to help.
one of them is
I would
probably
say 3.
What's that?
I would say at least 3, probably 4.
Maybe. But we also will probably, I don't know. I get a feeling based on, and I haven't looked at it, but I think that it always seems like one driver seems to have a little bit of problems. Things just don't go their way. And then another driver's kind of hanging around the top 10. And then, it's usually a couple of drivers that kind of go at it. We'll see. We'll find out. But
Right.
11 of the last 12 winners started in the top 10, 7 of the last 12 in the top 5, and the 3 pole sitters all came from the championship race. So let's get our and the only driver I think we all agree that if there was going to be another driver that might win this race and be the first driver to win that's not a playoff driver or a championship 4 driver, would probably have to be Kevin Harvick. So if you want to put a few bucks on Kevin Harvick at 15-1, who has 20 straight top 10s at this racetrack, go right ahead. I would not be surprised if something along the lines happened like that. But it's about the top 4. CJ, who do you like and why?
It's a tough call between Byron and Larson. Given that it's a championship race, I got to give the nod to Byron just because I think he's had a better season overall. He's been more consistent. Yeah, he stole a couple races early in the going, some from Larson, to be honest with you, but that's how racing works. You got to take advantage of your opportunities when you have them, and that team absolutely has. They didn't have the greatest race at Martinsville, obviously, but they did more than enough to get in, and I think that's enough momentum considering that they've been able to not necessarily prepare, for lack of a better word, but they're going to leverage Kyle Larson's preparation since he's had a couple weeks to prepare as well. But Byron, he comes alive in these playoffs, and I said that the first time he made it into the playoffs. He advanced farther than any of us thought he was going to be able to do, and he's done that consistently every single year. So I think he's more than ready to have his shot. So I'm going to give the advantage to Byron this weekend. He's my choice.
Byron just won top 5 in 11 races at Phoenix, but that was his win this year from the 3rd position, led 64 laps. All right. And then Larson, by the way, he only has 1 win, but that was the championship win. And he was 4th this year from the pole, led 201 laps, the most he's ever won at Phoenix. He has 8 top 10s in his last 9 at Phoenix. The other was an engine issue with 5 top 5s and a win. And then you have Ryan Blaney and Bell, by the way. Blaney 3-1, Bell 4-1, Larson 2-1, Byron 3-1. Eric, who do you like and why?
I'm going to go Blaney. I've been banging that drum like I was Larson last year, so I'll stick with it. He's runner-up his last 2 races there. I think last year, we know he should have won. He was just playing interference for Logano to keep Chastain at bay, but Blaney should have won last year. He had a good car in the spring, was runner-up. This seems like one of his better tracks. He's won 2 in a row before, and that was in 2021 when he won Michigan, and then he followed that up with one Daytona, the last 2 regular season races. So he's done it. I feel like he's the hot hand. I'm just going to continue to ride that hot hand. It just seems like it feels right. The Hendrick guys feel the safe pick, and Larson, you want to go his route. He won the Round of 8 opener. It seems like he's good there. But then out of 24 career Phoenix starts between trucks and Xfinity 2, he's got 1 win. And I feel like Larson can be that guy that dominates again. But it's hard to translate. Granted, the same guys seem to be good spring to fall there, but it seems like the ones that do the best in the spring don't do the best in the fall. They're just kind of top 5 guys. Blaney, for some reason, has figured out every year just to show up, and he's runner-up. So I just feel like this is his moment. It just feels right. So I'll just ride that hot hand. And, he led 109 laps last year in this race. And a weird trend, which the only thing that scares me is I don't know if Blaney can win the pole. He's not a big pole-winning guy. You don't see that happen a lot. But if you look in the stage era, the opening stage, the guys that won the championship, which also ended up being the race, only Logano won the first stage. Truex was 5th in 2017. Logano was 4th in 2018. Kyle Busch was 3rd in 2019. Elliott was 3rd in 2020. Larson was 5th in 2021. Logano won the opening stage last year. So you don't have to be good in the early stage, because you also got to factor in that it's a 312-lap race. If you're good early, you're going to have to tinker with that car, because the sun is going to eventually – it's not going to be totally set, but it's going to be kind of behind the grandstands or shadows. You're going to have to tinker with your car. It's better to be better late than at the beginning, but if you're really good at the beginning, how do you know what to change on your car to be better late? So I think that's why you see that stage 1 winner doesn't necessarily win the championship, other than last year. So but going back to it, the only thing that scares me about Blaney is the qualifying aspect. Because the pole winner gets the first pick of the pit stall. They're going to choose the first pit stall, and that's a massive advantage in Phoenix. Last year, all 3 pole winners, if you go at Trucks Xfinity Cup, won. All 3 had the first pit stall. All 3 used it to their advantage. So
I think the good thing, though, is that, like you said, is that it didn't seem to matter for Blaney last year.
No, it hasn't. He hasn't had that first pit stall there ever, and he's still second.
And he still probably should have won last year. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and I will say, because that's one thing that people might want. So it's weird this week after qualifying, first among the championship 4, which every year they've always got the pole. They get the first pick. So let's just say Kevin Harvick wins the pole. He doesn't get the first pick of a pit stall. It's the first driver in the championship 4 in the starting lineup will get the first pit stall. And then second in the championship 4, third, and fourth.
And what is that right now?
It'd be in qualifying.
Oh, in qualifying. Okay.
So whoever's let's just say Larson.
Oh, so if they're 8th,
yeah,
they get the second choice. If the second one, okay, yeah.
It's going to go in order of how they're starting them.
So they're going to get the top 4.
They're going to get the top 4. So every one of them is going to choose either an entrance or an exit to where there's nobody in front or behind them.
Okay.
So it's not like it's a huge detriment anymore by doing that, but that number 1 pit stall, there's a reason it keeps winning that track every year.
All right. And again, Blaney, 8 top 10s in his last 9 at Phoenix, had a record 20, 6 top 5s, and back-to-back runner-ups during that stretch. Last 4, second, fourth, leading a combined over 270 laps, something like that, during that stretch. Bell, meanwhile, we haven't talked about him. 6th this year, never had a top 5, never led a lap. So he's definitely a long shot, CJ.
Yeah, he's going to be my pick to be that one that kind of struggles, is a little bit off compared to the other 3. Unfortunately, I think Bell's another one that's got a championship in him at some point. Gibbs has just got to figure out how to get their cars to work at Phoenix, I think, as long as it stays there until they start moving the track around again.
Yeah, and it goes to show you where these odd makers, they just throw the championship 4 up there, because if you just take Bell's stats and you just make this the spring race, he's not 4-1 or 5-1. That's
20-1 maybe.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't take him. That's why I'm not going to go his route this week. And then Larson basically was even. So I'm like, that doesn't give you much wiggle room there. So process of elimination, you go the other 2. And for Byron's sake, it is worth mentioning the last driver to sweep Phoenix was 2014. That was Harvick. So it's been a decade almost. And then only 3 times has the series champion won a race at Phoenix that given year. 84 Terry Labonte, 90 Earnhardt, 95 Gordon. And
real quick question for you, Eric. Do you remember who won Martinsville, the race leading into Phoenix last year?
Well, that would be Bell.
Okay. So the interesting thing that I've noticed, and it's been a lot this year and it was a lot last year as well, is if we look at the race prior to the race, the current race weekend. So in other words, this week we're in Phoenix for the finale. You look at who won Martinsville last season. Usually that driver wins the following race this weekend at Phoenix. So Bell, that
Bell
if you're in the stretch, Bell could be that. However, I'm going to go back and I'm going to figure out how many times that's happened, but I got to say it's at least a dozen over the past 2 seasons. So if anybody does have an inkling for Bell, that's one thing that you got in your cap to go for.
Yeah, I was going to say, he'd be the one that's going to screw it all up, because there's nothing he's going to win that. And it's like, that would be the one we're not – because he should – I mean, that's the pressure is off for him going in and doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a good situation for him.
Well, he didn't have a good record at the – where did he win a few races ago?
Homestead.
Homestead.
Yeah, he didn't have a good record there.
No. He seems to do that. He didn't have a great record at Martinsville last year, and then he won. So it doesn't really matter to him. It's just betting-wise –
yeah. You're getting no value. Yeah.
No, if he was like 12-1, I'd probably take him, but not where they've got him.
Yeah.
Like you're reaching at that point. I'll just stick with the safer picks. But again, that's for the live betting. Maybe he doesn't start on the pole. Maybe he doesn't win the first stage, and you might be able to live bet him at something. But yeah.
All right, so that is going to wrap it up for the 2023 season, and I will post this show, I'm thinking just out loud, maybe on race day, just in case there's some leftovers who haven't gotten the message about us being on the new channel. But this is obviously going to be posted on Mystery Caution on Thursday. We are recording right now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so it should be up in the next hour or so. Guys, again, awesome job as always. We've got as we've been saying every time we end the season, we have a good thing going here, and now it just seems like it's getting even better. So,
Gains more and more momentum.
yes. So let's keep it going. And I look forward to talking to you guys on the air again sometime in 2024. And who knows, maybe even before that, because we're going to have to talk and figure out everything that's going on with Eric behind the scenes with the new indie gig. And maybe there'll be some videos before the end of the year. So check back for that. Subscribe to the channel so you'll be alerted whenever those videos possibly come before 2024. And guys, I appreciate all of your tireless work here on the channel. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, appreciate both of you. Thank you. Yeah, been a fun year.
All right. So again, to everybody out there, appreciate it. We'll see you guys again for NASCAR coverage in 2024 right here on our Mystery Caution YouTube channel.